So we have a lot of things to talk to you about. First of all, last week I would think it was a big meeting here in the Magic City on railway service. And I think I was talking with Billings Mayor Bill Cole, and I think he said it's been about 40 years since we had passenger rail service here in the Magic City. And I imagine that's the same with Missoula County, right?
Yeah, 42 years to be precise. In the fall of 1979, the entire southern tier of Montana saw the last service of Amtrak's North Coast Hiawatha, which up until that point connected Billings, Missoula, Bozeman to points east and west, all the way to Chicago and to Seattle. And over the past 4 decades, folks have been trying various attempts to restore that connectivity and service. We've not gotten the job done, but over the last 2.5, 3 years, we've been trying some different things, expecting different results, rather than simply trying the same thing and expecting different results.
So are we getting a little bit closer, do you think? Is it really a possibility? Is there light at the end of the tunnel for us to get rail service, passenger-wise, here in Billings and Missoula?
Absolutely. We can actually see that light at the end of the tunnel, and the light at the end of that tunnel is a train. And so where we're at right now, what we did differently, starting about 3 years ago, was counties across the state of Montana came together. Actually, to begin with, 12 counties came together and established the first regional passenger rail authority in the history of the state of Montana, the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. We are now up to 18 counties. We include, as ex officio members, 3 tribal nations, Amtrak, BNSF Railway, the Montana Department of Transportation, and we formally came into existence in November of 2020 during the height of the pandemic. And one of our first tasks was to set ourselves up for success, knowing that at some point there would be a major infrastructure bill coming down the pike. One of our signature accomplishments last year was working with members of Congress to get language into the bipartisan infrastructure law that directs the U.S. Department of Transportation to conduct a nationwide study of restoring discontinued Amtrak routes. That study is kicking off as we speak, and this route through southern Montana has been identified as one of the routes that will be in that analysis. And at the end of all that, there actually are significant dollars in that federal infrastructure law to implement projects that are recommended for restoration.
You know, because folks, from the Billings area, Missoula area, if they want to get on the Amtrak, especially over here in Billings, you either have to go to Malta or Havre. And I guess, isn't it October that Amtrak is only going to have 3-day service on the High Line?
I had not heard that. During the pandemic, they did scale back service to not every day of the week, but to only partial week service. I would have to check in with Amtrak to see if that is the case coming up here. But you're absolutely right. Right now, you've got to travel. If you're in the southern part of the state, you've got to travel up to Malta or Shelby or Whitefish, and not all that many folks do that. We have one of our most iconic national parks in the country along the southern tier of the state of Montana. That is Yellowstone. We're talking about adding additional service to Montana, not subtracting from. So the Empire Builder remains.
So how, like airlines, for them to, come into a city like Billings, Missoula, it has to be profitable for them. Do you think having southern rail service for passengers down here in southern Montana is going to be profitable enough for them?
Well, so here's the way to look at it. Airlines are not profitable were it not for the massive public investments that we make. We're here in my home community and probably elsewhere in the state of Montana. We've seen significant improvements to our airport infrastructure. We just built a new terminal here in Missoula. That was not on the backs of the local property taxpayers or to an appreciable extent the airlines. That was through public federal dollars making that happen. Same with our roads and streets and interstate highways. There's last time I checked, I was just in Billings last week. I didn't see any toll roads in Yellowstone County. So those roads are getting maintained by public investment. So similar with passenger rail, I think we just need to get over the fact that it's likely never going to be the case, and it's not the case anywhere around the globe, that the fare box, what you pay for a fare, is going to fully cover all of the operational costs and infrastructure costs related to that. Certainly, you want to do as well as you can to close that gap, but I think we just need to be okay with the fact that at some point we're talking about public transportation and that there are public benefits, economic benefits, transportation benefits associated with that.
Well, thank you for coming on this morning, sir. Great talking with you, and just got to cross our fingers that we get that rail service through southern Montana, because a lot of folks, that used to ride the train are missing that. And if you never went on a train ride, it's an awesome experience.
Well, and so here's something that folks should be aware of. What I found in this initiative over the past few years is it has brought together communities, counties, that rarely, if ever, collaborated. When's the last time Missoula County ever worked on a project together with Webo County?
Yeah.
The answer is never. Yeah. We've never done this. And so some of the most early joiners of this effort were not the large urban centers in the state of Montana. They were some of our smallest rural communities and counties. Why? Because right now, if you go to Prairie County, if you go to Terry, Montana, with an aging population, they have to drive 175 miles to catch a plane or to seek certain medical treatment, and these might be the very folks who cannot drive. So passenger rail provides a mode of transportation that otherwise folks are lacking, and their lives are diminished as a result of that. And so what I've seen is this effort has crossed ideological, political, east-west, urban, rural boundaries like none other that I've seen. And what that does for me is give hope that in this divisive and rancorous political climate that we're in these days, that here in Montana we've demonstrated that we can still work together on big, bold projects.
Well, thank you for coming on this morning.